So this is going to be part 2 with regard to world affairs. Get cozy with me as I read the energy about what's going on in the world and conflict at this time. So I'm seeing here that there is some sort of major body that is not waiting for some sort of law to be passed through and just going ahead anyway. So I feel like this is an energy of a country or a community or a group of people or a conglomeration, some sort of big body that is no longer going to be waiting for maybe even this new financial currency to come through, or this new way, a new wave, a new era for communication that is being orchestrated behind the scenes for change. I see that this is going to be coming in quicker than expected because I think everything is going according to plan. So I'm hearing that, do you remember Tim Burton did the animation film Corpse's Bride? And the parents who were, let's say, had a on the outset looked like that they looked like they were very financially stable, financially wealthy, but actually they were liquid poor but asset rich, and so they wanted their daughter to marry into money. In this case, in the film, it was new money. So I feel like there could be some, and there's a song that goes, according to plan, everything must go according to plan. And I feel like there is that kind of manipulative energy that I'm picking up on here with regard to that within world events and world affairs. I'm not going to spell out particularly each country because I like to be diplomatic in that sense, but I trust and know that you have the mental awareness and mental acumen to decipher yourselves who it is I'm talking about and bring in your own intuition with regard to that. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that there could be some sort of major body that is going to be bringing out this new currency, particularly or new way of a new form, a new wave. I keep hearing new wave for communication. Okay, this could even be maybe like control of what is said and what is written. We've seen utterings of that, particularly in the West, but there could be more of that coming through. This could also involve the particular planets, Mercury. Okay, the planet particular that is being highlighted here is planet Mercury. So Mercury is a trickster, right? So I feel like there could be some sort of next moon phase, or when there is an alignment between the Earth, the Sun and Mercury that is going to, I'm hearing a conjunct where they're to get like they're very close and next to each other. Somehow this is going to cause some real issues. It's like a shop front, we're selling this, but we're actually going to be implementing something else. So it's never what you see as being real. The real is happening behind the scenes, and then then without you even knowing it, there's something that is physically put forward that is a change in our society. Now, this could also involve food, particularly here with the Ace of Pentacles, which involves harvest, seeds, food, anything to do with the earth. Can also talk about assets, property, financial investment. This is like a bank, for example, that would, rather than say, okay, you have a property that will be mortgage free, you end up realizing that there's this new legislation, this new rule where it's not actually mortgage free, and there's kind of some sort of loophole. And that's exactly the word that I'm hearing. There's a loophole that is being created in order to further entrap people. Okay, I'm seeing here with the Seven of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands that there is, again, I feel like in this particular part of the message and prediction, I feel like this is involving stocks, trade, currency that is changing, and I feel like there's some sort of, it's like people won't be able to, like the general public, Jane, Dick and Sally, for example, won't be able to be rid of financial restraints. There's some sort of orchestration going on behind the scenes from the major conglomerations with regard to world affairs, particularly in regard to conflicts in the world, where it talks about money. And I see that the general public, Jack, Jill, and Sarah, will not be able to be mortgage free. Will only continue to be burdened rather than being able to be in the position to harvest their hard work. This, I feel, involves pensions and some sort of pension fund and pension scheme. I also get the sense that there could be, within world affairs, conversations behind the scene where, you know, the general age for going into your pension or your pension fund will extend into the 70s. Now remember, whenever there are world conflicts and world affairs that are not necessarily beneficial for the general public, Jack, Jill, and Sally, it involves, it usually is about forecasting for the next 10 to 20 years. So I see that. But I see that overall, I see that people won't be as blind to see what the plan is behind the scene. I feel like people are going to be continuing to work. I feel like there is physical work. I feel like there are human beings on the ground working in factories rather than, you know, non-human beings working in factories. So I see that there's this energy where overall I think people are a bit more awake and aware to the general scheme. And I think that there is this sense by the general public that we're just going to keep trucking on, we're just going to keep moving forward, we're just going to keep creating, we're just going to keep focusing on how we can bring about beauty in this world, particularly in the earth. And there's this energy where there's this real resilience I'm picking up on very, very strongly from the collective. I also see that there is going to be, from the collective and the general public, a new truth is coming out. There's a prediction that came through, I think, with Aphrodite, this wonderful tarot reader on YouTube who does predictions, and I think that he may have mentioned something with regard to that, where it's going to be people who are from the working classes who are going to be speaking out and are actually going to be bringing wealth to the poor. So this is kind of like the Robin Hood effect, you know, robbing the rich in order to provide for the poor. I don't necessarily seeing that's, you know, figuratively being played out, but it's more of a euphemism for, okay, there's a real need for a change of power here and real truth from the working classes particularly to come through and be seen and being upheld and uplifted for clarity. I see that there's also going to be one particular person who's going to come out as essentially from nowhere, who's going to come through and they're going to be seen as a hero. Okay, I don't know who this person is, I don't know where they're from specifically, but they could come from an area of the world where it could be very windy, you know, specifically could be very windy. This is someone who is divinely guided by spirit to bring about this truth. I do see that this is someone who is very clairvoyant. If they don't necessarily admit that to themselves, they may not even be seeing themselves as spiritual, but I see that this is someone who is being divinely guided. Now, I did mention Aquarius energy, where earlier I said that Aquarius energy deals with humanity, and this is the person who sees through and cuts through the illusion, cuts through the BS, brings truth, and is about supporting humanity, which also involves planet Earth as a whole, animals, the oceans, the seas. I also see that this is someone who's very Uranian by nature, so someone who can just be very explosive and just comes along the scene and speaks their truth, and then suddenly they're launched into stardom. They're launched into being seen as a true hero of the general public. I do see that someone here in a major position of power, an emperor energy, could have their throne and their crown taken away. That's what I'm seeing.